increasing your sales is something we're always striving for, right? So this video is going to talk about really basic tips, but these tips go a really long way on how to increase your sales at the same time improving that customer experience that as customers we're always looking out for. The first tip I really emphasize and want to talk about is responding to messages promptly. This could be a bad message where someone's saying like, oh, this isn't as described, what can I do about this? Or, oh, how big is the item? Or what does it weigh? Or what color shade of blue is it? So you get the craziest types of messages, but responding to those messages promptly will really increase your chances of getting that specific sale. There's a book out there called How to Win Friends and Influence People, and that book, I read half of it a long time ago, but you get the idea once you start reading more about it, or like start watching other YouTube videos or reading about how to communicate better with other people, because that really does matter, and that's where sales comes from. So an example would be like, I don't know, this is how I respond to messages. It's someone saying, hi, what's the measurement for this shirt? I would say, hey, thank you so much for your interest in this product, or blank. The measurement for this is, and I go into detail and I make sure that I'm very descriptive, which I'll go into a little bit later. But during those messages, I noticed that the tone of your message could really make a difference. So I like to keep a very casual tone whenever I respond to messages. I respond with smiley faces, which a lot of people don't really do. I don't put LOL or haha unless like I know that person, unless we're texting and I know that person. But normally when I'm doing a sale on like eBay or Poshmark, or I don't sell on Mercari, but one of those two, I definitely respond with like, hey, thanks so much for your interest, and smiley face, like, let me know if you have any questions, exclamation point. So like very cheery and very excited because you're about to make a sale, you're trying to sell this person to buy this product. So the tone of voice really does matter, and you don't want to sound all robotic. Like I've messaged, corporate offices or like, I don't know, some big company, and I always get this robotic message like, thanks so much for your inquiry, please blah 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, I hate these things because I just feel like there's not a real person on the other side. It's always just kind of a robot. So it really does matter like what tone your voice you have, but that's up to you entirely. I like to keep it a little bit more casual, but I know there's other people that like to go a little bit more like professional. But it just all depends on what you're selling, how expensive the product is. The stuff that I sell is probably $100, maybe 50, maybe 20. So it varies, but if you're selling something that's like $500, $300, like yes, of course, professionalism does matter. This leads me to the second tip that I have. I don't really have a number, but this is just the one that's following the first, is making sure that you're describing the item as well as you can. So this really matters because you don't want that person to receive that product and there's something wrong with it. Like, oh, this isn't the color that it said it was, or like, this is for kids shoes, like a size 7 in kids, not women, like you'll get those like crazy messages. And eBay will always side with the customer because the customer is always right. You hear that everywhere, at restaurants, at other businesses, at corporate. The customer is always right. Sometimes you just want to pull your hair out because I guess they're right, even though like I put it in the listing. eBay is gonna side with them, and sometimes like, and Amazon too will always side with the seller, or not the seller, the buyer. Some companies are a lot better with their sellers. They understand that like, oops, I made a mistake, or oops, they didn't read it right. Poshmark, for example, like if they accepted the item, or like if it doesn't fit, they can't really return it. I think that's kind of the rule. I haven't really sold on Poshmark all that much, but I know that there's some weird rule like that eBay doesn't have. And on eBay, you have the option to either, open that up to people like, oh, free returns on whatever. But I don't have that on because I don't want to deal with that. Maybe if I was full-time and had literally like a full-time business around it, of course I would open that up, because it's like, you just want to have that good customer experience, So yeah, when I say describing it, I'm talking about, measuring it correctly, making sure that you're describing the flaws, maybe there's a stain on it, maybe there's a rip, or maybe it's like, I don't know, there's some piling on there or something. I don't know. I'm talking about apparel mostly because that's mostly what I do, but yeah, you just have to describe the item really well. You don't want that person to give you negative feedback, because that doesn't look good on you, and eBay or Amazon or whatever platform you're using is not gonna like that. So the first one is respond to messages promptly. The other one's making sure your description's correctly and best described as you can. And the third one I'm going to talk about is the photos. So there's a lot of different types of people who like different types of photos, and like you can have a mannequin, you can hang it on the hanger, you can put it on the floor, you can put it, I don't know, you can wear it, I don't know, take a picture, I don't know. So I'm gonna give you guys an example of what I don't like. I don't like to see things that, like I saw this one Lululemon capris being sold on eBay for like 20 bucks, and it was laying on a bed with like, the sheets were red. I just feel like that's really unprofessional and it kind of looks tacky. I would not buy that product. The person did a good job because they like disclosed that there were stains on this particular listing and they showed pictures of it and stuff, and those are good photos to have, but I just don't like that it's on a bed. I don't know. I prefer it to be on the floor, which sounds really weird, but there's some really nice, like if you have a wooden floor and it looks like a really good backdrop, I think that's a really good photo, I guess, backdrop. Is you just do it on your phone. That's what I do. I don't hang it unless it's like a purse and it won't sit right. I will hang it on like a door knob. I'm not really that professional about it, but I know that their eBay offers some tips on that, and I will put the link in the description on how to get better sales through your photos. So eBay recommends that you use, like a white backdrop or like hang it and make sure you use good lighting. And yes, those are all things you will do eventually if you start growing and growing and growing. But as you're starting, it's okay to put it on the floor as long as you can show all the flaws, as long as you can show all the angles and make sure that you show like the brand and like the sizes and where it's made. It depends on what it is. I'm talking about apparel right now, but yeah, so taking great photos is another great tip. So the next tip is, I like to do this personally on eBay, but it's offering offers or like sending offers to people, or like opening up the offer option for others to send you offers. I like to do this because it gets people interested and excited. They're like, whoa, like I can get this a little bit cheaper, So I like to leave that one open. If I get something ridiculous, like say I'm selling something for 50 and someone offered me 20, like I'm gonna decline it, especially if it's that day that I listed it, because I'm like, I can probably wait like a few more days for this, or like a few more weeks. But yeah, that one's really important to me. I like to do that. That's a personal decision. Some of you don't like that decision. You just are very firm with your price, and I think that's great. But at least with the offers, you still get to decline them. You still get to see what people are willing to offer. So then you get a better idea, But sometimes you'll get those lowballers. I mean, I'm not talking about the lowballers because honestly, I'm one of them. I like to lowball people because you never know, especially on Facebook Marketplace. Oh my God, I lowball people and they just accept because they're trying to get rid of these things. Facebook Marketplace, I swear, is the next thing to like really start like be able to find reselling or, buy low, sell high type of stuff. At least that's what I'm seeing. And with that, I also like to send offers. So say something's been sitting for like months and it's not moving, but you have a couple watchers on it because they're waiting for you to like totally send them an offer for like $1. But anyway, yeah, those are the people I'm talking about. Sometimes they will accept something reasonable. So say you just are like, oh, that's it. I'm just gonna get rid of this shirt because I've had it for months and it's not moving, and now it's at like the lowest that I would take, like whatever. I might as well just break even on it. So you decide to send an offer to these people, I like to do that. I think the customer really likes it and really they look forward to seeing like, hey, someone's offered me like $5 for this shirt that is 10 or something. I don't know. I like to do that. Another personal preference. And my last tip is like, once you respond to the messages, once you dealt with putting the photos, once you sent the offers and one of them accepts, you have to ship the product. So at the very beginning of when you're starting, I think it's a really, really kind, gentle touch, touche, to send a little handwritten note to the buyer. You will put this in the box that you're shipping it with and just say, hey, thank you so much for your purchase. Let me know if you have any questions, and then sign it with your name or your username, whatever you want to use. And then you ship it off into Antarctica, and then the penguin will get it and will be like, oh, you know what? That's a very kind gesture from this beautiful eBay seller, so you never know. Then they will be more obligated to give you a really great feedback, and feedback is always the greatest thing on eBay too. The more great feedback you have, the more sales you probably get because people trust you more. So, it all just kind of aligns together in another big umbrella. eBay doesn't really tell you need to do that, like it's not obligated, but I know that Poshmark, when you're starting to sell, one of the rules is you should send a handwritten note saying thank you, which is a really nice touch. Also, Poshmark wants you to use like glitter and all these cute little tissue things, and I don't go all the way with that, but I know Poshmark's a little more girly with that kind of stuff. They really want you to feel like, oh, you're special and you got this product from a really great seller who really looks into, you know, sending the best box or the best bag or the best tissue paper or the best like handmade cards or something. You know, I've gotten some really crazy stuff from sellers from Poshmark. Like they think of everything, really. But yeah, those are the tips I have on, you know, these are really good basic tips, and they go a long way. You know, every time I'm buying something, I always look at professionalism, I look at photos, and if the photos suck, then I'm like, oh, like, what else do they suck at? Or if I get a really bad message response, like they're using the letter U instead of YOU, or they're talking a little weird, or there's a lot of typos, a lot of spaces, or I just feel like I'm gonna feel a little less obligated to like buy from that person, you know, or they take forever to respond, or they never respond at all. You know, it matters. You should respond to these people. Like in the Day in a Life with Mary, a video, which I'll put somewhere in the screen because that one's doing really well. Thank you everyone for all the feedback for that. She mentions that she will look at all of her messages first and make sure that she responds to them, because that's customer. Those are your buyers, you know, so it really does matter. Anyway, this video got way too long, dude. Way too long. So I gotta go. Well, I don't gotta go. I should go because I'm getting boring and I'm starting to rant. But thanks so much for watching. You know, I'm really glad that I'm making more videos. I started a bullet journal at the beginning of the year, and one of my goals was to increase this YouTube channel, so that's what I'm doing. But yeah, you know, those are my tips for you guys. If you're starting on eBay, congratulations on starting your first step. I hope that these tips make it easier for you and give you a better idea of what to look for. I did my research by, you know, looking at other sellers that I would buy from. So go on eBay, do some research, look at the good pictures, look at the bad, look at the things that you should be doing, look at the things that you shouldn't be doing, look at the description. If there's no description about like sizes or weight measurements or color or like where it's made or like anything that comes to mind, like that should all be in the description, you know? So that's really important. Anyway, all right, I gotta go. So peace out. It is I sound like that.